let's get rid of the narrative that this boy isn't a Pep Guardiola player, because, oh boy, he certainly is. Welcome back to the City Ramble. If you're new around here, make sure to hit subscribe. There's a City Ramble Discord link in the description as well. Make sure you join the server and get involved in the conversation. But today, we're going to be having a look at Rayan Cherki and how he might fit in to Manchester City when, fingers crossed, that deal gets across the line. He's obviously one of the main talking points from this summer transfer window for Manchester City. I guess people are using the term Kevin De Bruyne replacement. You can't replicate De Bruyne's output, his legacy, his impact on City. But let's face it, City is certainly going to have to try and replace what he offered. And I think when you look at what Rayan Cherki during his short career as a player has offered, you can maybe start to put him in that category of De Bruyne replacements. He's averaging a goal over, I think that works out as over once every 3 matches, assisting at least once every other match. You look at some of the shot-creating actions as well. In the last year, compared to other attacking midfielders and wingers, he's in the top percentile. He's getting seven shot-creating actions per 90. Need that. Plenty of passes attempted as well. Decent pass completion rate. Progressive passes, close to 10 per 90, 8.88. Just imagine Erling Haaland, by the way, running on to those. Also the wingers as well. They'll certainly benefit. Progressive carries. That's looking at close to 5 per 90 as well. Successful take-ons, 2.5 per 90. This is a guy who loves to get the ball and #make things happen. And I think that's kind of why so many City fans are looking forward to seeing him in action, because he's a mercurial talent. You know, don't get us wrong. It is by no means the finished article. When you when you watch him play, there are moments where he might make a mistake, but you know, you're looking at the age, it's no surprise. 185 appearances though is pretty impressive in that time. 29 goals, 45 assists. So he is certainly a player who is productive. And look, you look at City's forwards this season. By no means has it been good enough. Grealish, Doku, Savinho, Oscar Bob, but obviously the injury is playing a part there. Not getting enough goals. I think Phil Foden finished the season as City's second highest goal scorer, which is just crazy when you consider the sort of season he's had. So these numbers for a 21-year-old are wild. I think most people who have played Football Manager would have heard the name Rayan Cherki for some time, but it does feel like he has been around for, I guess, the best part of half a decade, and he probably has, to be fair. Can't remember when he sort of first made his senior appearance, his senior debut for Lyon, but he has been around for a good number of years. He's built up that experience, and obviously with that age profile, 21 years old, doesn't turn 22 until mid-August. So if City get the job done and get him across the line, you could be looking at a player going well into 5, 6, hopefully even longer than that, 7, 8, 9 years. I've put together a few concept lineups as to what City might look like with Rayan Cherki in their starting 11. Must add, this is obviously, you see a couple of players in there who are heavily linked but haven't signed. There's the right back. Akanji's there for now. I'm going to cross my fingers and say hopefully City sign a right back in the summer transfer window. But let's just deal with Akanji there for now. We don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully City sign a right back. But as you can see, this is at the moment what I think City's strongest 11, with the rumours, with the talk, with all of the players at the City's disposal, might look like heading into the new season. You've got Rayan Cherki, you've got Phil Foden, you've got Omar Mamouche. To be honest, I think any 3 of those can interchange. They can swap positions. You might see Phil Foden popping up in the 10 spot, Rayan Cherki on the wing, Omar Mamouche playing as a second striker. That's a really fluid and interchangeable front 3, which I think is amazing. Same with Tijani Randers. Nico Gonzalez could play alongside Rodri as that box-to-box 8. There is slowly but surely starting to be a real balance with the sort of the City squad, which is great to see. That's what I think City's maybe stronger 11 might look like. Obviously, 1 or 2 players could come in. Diaz for Kusanov, Foden for Savinho, or Mamouche for whatever. Mamouche for Doku. You get the point. I think what's interesting is when you start to play around with what alternative setups could look like. And while this is mainly, in fact, I think it is all pretty much the same personnel, you could see a situation, in my opinion, where you have Erling Haaland, obviously, as the centre forward, as the main man, but instead of Marmoush and Rayan Cherki sort of playing as wide forwards, or Phil Foden playing as a wide forward, whatever, you could see them playing almost as sort of two number 10s, a double 10 system. Marmoush has obviously done that this season already. Rayan Cherki likes to operate in the centre of the park. Behind that, you've got a real solid midfield base. I would say for this system, though, you would need Ryan Aït-Nouri, who is going to be happy getting up on that left-hand side from fullback. You maybe need Mateus Nunes, for example, to add a bit of width on that right-hand side. But you can. The point is, you can sort of see how City's lineup has options with these players at their disposal. And if you want to rotate a little bit, you can bring Doku and Savinho in on the wings. And this is a rogue shout. By no means do I necessarily think we'll see it regularly, or perhaps even at all. But Rayan Cherki is a false nine. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't remember a time he's necessarily done that for Lyon. But when you look at his attributes, when you look at his creativity, his goal scoring, having two high wingers above him as well, obviously Nico Gonzalez in there instead of Rodri, bring Kuznov into the team. They are that is something that, like I said, I don't think we'll necessarily see on the regular basis. But when you look at the statistics, I think that's certainly plausible that you could have Rayan Cherki playing as a little bit of a false nine, dropping in a little bit deep. The passing ability on this guy, by the way, is exceptional. He's left-footed, he's right-footed. More, not necessarily maybe the range of passing, although it is great, but the weight of passing is what has really impressed me, and I know a lot of people as well when they've spoken about him. So perhaps we possibly see something like that. And I just think, you look at some of the situations, again, for copyright reasons, can't necessarily play the clips, but picking out passes on the edge of the box is something that I think City have struggled with when they've come up against low blocks. It's been very one-dimensional. It's been get the ball out wide. Can we clip a ball into Haaland? Excuse me. And can he get his big, lanky head on top of it? With Rayan Cherki, you get a little bit more of a key, someone who can unlock that deep block, because he sees the passes. And again, I said in a different video earlier this week, it isn't the Kevin De Bruyne style creative outlet playmaker where he's going to do things at speed. He's going to pick up the ball, he's going to get out of his feet, and he's going to whip across in, or in a transition, for example. Again, Rayan Cherki can do similar sort of stuff, but it is maybe at a slower pace. However, it is the intricacy that you really get in with this guy. I made a comparison to Mesut Ozil earlier in the week, and I think that sort of stands up when you go back and you have a look at how Ozil played. People have had issues or question marks, let's say, about his out of possession stuff, and I think it's important to say that isn't his game. He isn't going to be sort of maybe he will be, but I don't think he's going to be the first trigger for a press. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a guy who's winning balls in and around midfield or in the final third. Maybe in the final third more so than midfield, but I don't think he's going to be that sort of live wire who's going to cover ground, Bernardo Silva-esque, when he kind of played a little bit more advanced than he has done in previous years. 2018-19 season, for example. I don't think it's going to be that sort of player, because he is the guy who you get the ball to and you hope that they're going to unlock something, or they're going to find a goal, or they're going to find a pass. That is kind of what City will be looking at with Rayan Cherki. It's not necessarily that he can't do it. Maybe we will see him up his out of possession numbers, his defensive numbers a little bit more, but I don't think that's why he's being signed, and understandably so. The other issues that people have flagged have been attitude problems, to paraphrase. Personally, I think that's unfair, and I think it's been overblown quite a bit, to be honest. There have been some interviews he's done while in France, and I think, having worked in football media for a while, I don't want to sort of make a grandiose statement, but the French media, it can be a little bit dramatic at times. Let's put it that way. Again, I don't want to sort of jump to any conclusions, but you can kind of understand, you can kind of guess what sort of stories have been said, what sort of quotes have been sort of put towards this guy. And to be fair to him, even at his young age, and this is, I'm pretty sure this is at least a year old, so it's going back to when he was possibly even a teenager or 20 years old, he's come out and he's fronted them. And I believe this was an interview with SoFoot, I'm guessing that's a French outlet. He said, all sorts of things about his style of play, blah, blah, blah. But in terms of his attitude and approach and mentality, in the family, we have always been hard workers. We've never rested on our laurels. I'm the first one at training. I always ask for more. I've never disrespected anyone. For me, that's a fundamental. I've never spoken out of turn to anyone either. And I think that's a real telling statement. The way that he operates, and that quote, I'm the first to training, I always ask for more. When you think of City's issues this season, and maybe it wasn't complacency, but I definitely think if it was subconscious or conscious, the hunger dropped off, and you can understand why, because 4 in a row, a treble, domestic cups, all sorts, you can understand why the hunger dropped off. But City, let's face it, they need that back. They need fresh talent who have never won the big trophies. They haven't won Premier League titles. They haven't won Champions Leagues. They want to do that with this football club. That's what City need. And that quote, I think, is amazing. I'm the first to train and I always ask for more. He also said, when it becomes your job, you enter a new world. In the tank, there are only sharks, no small fish. You have to quickly become a shark so you don't get eaten. There's almost, and sorry for saying his name here, there's almost a Eric Cantona-esque-ness about him, I guess. That sort of, he is he appears very philosophical, and I know other people have mentioned that he has come from people who maybe know him or are close to him in France say that he has come from a real sort of grounded family, if you like, and that mentality has sort of stuck with him. Another one, they can pay me 600 million euros a day in Saudi Arabia, but I'm not going there. I want to play in Europe, enjoy it, and then we'll be here. And this is my favourite one. This is what we'll end on. Modern football freaks me out. When you see the Super League or VAR, I didn't grow up with that. If you ask all footballers what makes them love the sport, none of them will tell you expected goals. Rayan Cherki, you're a man. You're a man after my own heart, because you've got the Joga Bonito, you've got the talent. Don't get me wrong, we did go a little bit into his underlying stats there, but just to see what sort of player he is. However, that, I think, is absolutely telling. He says, as well, without football, I don't think I would have liked life. I'll always be involved in football. I always watch football. I'll always eat football. And that, my friends, is the sort of player that Manchester City might be getting. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, all of that lovely business. Like I said, the City Ramble Discord is always popping off with conversations, debates, non-football related stuff as well, so get yourself in there. The link is in the description. If you're enjoying these videos on the City Ramble YouTube channel, do let us know. If you're not, stay quiet, please, because I'm enjoying doing them. Until next time, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see you later.